Okay, yeah.
Good morning and namaskars on the monks from Thailand and all over the world. And good morning, everyone in Washington, in Vancouver, Canada. This is the program for life from the page of Wat Rama in Washington, and also from the page of Dhamma for Life from Wat Panya Nantharam in Vancouver. Thank you, Ajahn Tawachai, for supporting this program and for providing all the facility for the stream live on the Dhamma. So far we have been discussing a lot of topic of Dhamma teaching in the Buddhism, but today I would like to discuss, which is focus on those who are those who have reached the highest stage of complete realization of the Nibbana. Sometimes it's very worthy to recognize the many individuals, especially the householder, who have entered the stream to Nibbana or having caught a glimpse of the Nibbana. This individual often have spouse and children conducting their life virtually in the wider world. In the modern times, people are understanding of and feeling for the Nibbana and enlightened being has changed considerably. The view held by many people in the past of the Nibbana as a heavenly a city of the eternal bliss, which maybe has changed into the view of the extinction. Having less contact with the Buddhist teaching and being influenced more by the materialism has led people to see Nibbana in a negative in the negative light as something to be avoided. At the very least, they see the Nibbana as something distant and without the relevance to their life. To address this problem, apart from the instilling a correct understanding of the Nibbana, people should be encouraged to take a special interest in the first stage of enlightenment, which is called the stream enterer. The importance of the stream entry goes beyond an academic interest in the Nibbana and enlightened being, but it is very often to get overlooked. The Buddha repeatedly taught that Bhikkhu, those for whom you have compassion and those who are receptive, whether friends or colleagues, relatives or kinsmen, this you should exhaust and settle and establish in the four factor of the stream entry. The life of a stream enterer does not appear alien or frightening to contemporary people. Rather, it appears admirable. Many of the stream enterers at the time of the Buddha were a lay disciple, actually, and were exemplary people. They were really virtuous, led content family life, and they were engaged in the society, helping their community, and the Buddhism, maybe we call it the Buddhist religion. Although the stream enterer have reached a level of realization, they still have a subtle degree of defilement. They still grieve and lament when encountering the separation. They still have the preference and aversion like unawakened people. Although these are attenuated and do not lead to the serious misconduct, their suffering is a minor as compared to the suffering that they have been abandoned, and they are firmly established and secure in a happy, wholesome, and the faultless life. The prominent stream enterer from the Buddha's time include, for example, the king Bimbisara, who is a great king of Magadha, who offered the Veluwana, the first Buddhist monastery, and who kept the weekly observance their precept. And also the rich man Anantapindika, the founder of the famous monastery of Shetavana, and incomparable benefactor to the monastic community and to the poor people. And a lady named Visakha, the very foremost lay woman supporter, who was renowned in the Kosala country. She was very active in promoting social welfare despite having 20 children of her own. And also Chivaka, ที่เรารู้จักกันในนามของหมอชีวก Chivaka Komalapat celebrate the physician of the king, King Bimpisara, also the Buddha, and of the monastic community who is revered by the traditional medicine practitioner to this day. And also Naku Lapita and Naku Lamata, the husband and wife who were faithful to each other into old age and vow to meet again in the future lifetime. These are the example of the stream enterer during the Buddha time. So when we talk, we can talk of the attributes of the stream enterers. The attribute of the stream enterer that was mentioned is the abandonment of the first three fetters. We call it sangyojana. The personality view is the first one, and the doubt and the attachment to the rules and the vow. Freedom from these fetters, which is focused on the absence of the certain qualities. However, there is much emphasis in the scripture on the positive, active qualities. There are many of the active qualities, but essentially they can be incorporated into the group of the 5 qualities that I would like to mention to the faith or the sattva, the moral conduct, sila, and the regularly learning is called sutta, and generosity, jaka, and the last one is wisdom, panya. So now we can discuss about the attribute of the stream enterer in detail. In both way, I mean, in terms of active and present quality and of the abandoned qualities. Let's scan into the active qualities. The faith, the stream enterers have a firm trust in the truth, goodness, and the law of cause and effect. They have really much of the confidence in the wisdom that it is possible for human being to overcome suffering by realizing the conditioned nature of all reality. They have faith in the virtuous people who follow this path of the wisdom and have a profound respect for the triple gems. We call it Ratanataya. Their faith is so secure and unshakable. I call it unshakable faith because it is rooted in the true understanding. That's why it's become unshakable faith. It's a full. It's a phenomena of fullness of understanding. The moral conduct, their behavior through the body and the speech is so appropriate, and their mode of livelihood is very honest and upright. So the conduct is so free. It is not enslaved by craving. They act in accord to the truth to promote the virtue, the simplicity, dispassion, peace, and concentration. Generally speaking, it means following the 5 precepts, which is considered perfect moral conduct. They have a sense of high knowledge from learning. They learn in the really spiritual knowledge. We call it sutta. And they have always studied in the noble teaching. We call it Alaya Dhamma. The generosity, they really delight in giving and sharing. They always relinquish what they have for others. And that's why we see in the Anabindaka or even Visakha during the Buddha time, it's always donate the property to the Buddhism. The wisdom, they really have a knowledge of a learner. We call it Sekha. They see clearly into the Four Noble Truths, the dependent origination, and the 3 characteristics of nature. They always abandon all wrong view, micchaทิฏฐิ. They have no doubt concerning the Four Noble Truths, and they know the world as it is truly. If we want to take a look into the social action, the stream enterer abide by the virtue conducive to a communal life. We call it Saraniya Dhamma, which engender social unity and very concord. They do this perfectly because they maintain the last virtue, which is connects all authors. We can discuss a little bit about these virtues. The physical acts of loving kindness, we call metta, it's very mutual assist and very respect. And then the verbal act of loving kindness, we call it metta vachi kamma. The first one in Pali we call metta kaya kamma. หน่อยภาษาไทยคือเมตตากรรมเมตตากายกรรมอันที่สองนี่ก็คือเมตตาวจีกรรม which the stream enterer also always have this kind of a verbal acts of loving kindness, well intentioned advice and instruction is well manner speech, and the thought of living kindness mean เมตตามโนกรรมะหรือในภาษาไทยเราเรียกว่าเมตตามโนกรรม a thinking well of others, wishing to assist others, very cheerful demeanor, distributing a lawful gain with others, and also having a similar virtuous conduct as one's companions, which acting in an agreeable manner as always, and always sharing the right noble views with the companions. We call it Titti Samanyata. Titti Samanyata, which is actually leading to the end of the suffering. Having a similar virtuous conduct with the company, we call it Sila Samanyata. If one time I look into the scriptural passage that explain the noble views, I found that there are two special characteristics that mention for the stream enterer. If they have transgressed this, the discipline, the discipline, the vinaya, it is their nature to confess this transgression without delay to their teacher or the wise companion, and to show the restraint in the future. So this restraint is similar to that shown by a young child who has touched a burning coal and immediately retract his hand. That is very good simile. Although the stream enterer endure to assist their companions with the various activities, they have a keen interest for training in the higher virtue. As always, the higher mind and the higher wisdom is a life of learning. It's a learning life. Just as a cow with a new calf, while she graze wash her calf, so too does the stream enterer look to the both the collective good and to the personal progress on the path. Talking of happiness of the stream enterer, the stream enterer have begun to experience the transcendent happiness, which is very, very profound and independent of the material things. They have realized a noble liberation. We call it Aliyya Vimutti. Now we can focus to the abandoned qualities, which are called fetters. There are three fetters that has been abandoned by the stream enterer. The first one is called Sakaya Titi. The delusion in self, the mistaken belief in a self, which lead to the selfishness, the conflict, and the suffering. It has been abandoned. The second quality that being abandoned by the stream enterer called Vichikicca, the doubt, the uncertainties concerning, for example, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and doubt in the training. So these doubts prevent the mind from rousing the energy and advancing on the path. So this is the second quality that being abandoned by the stream enter. The next one is called Silapata Prama. It is a misapplication of the moral precept or the rule, the observance, and the tradition. These rules are not used as they are intended, as the tools for the developing such a quality as tranquility and the concentration. Instead, they are very tainted by craving and the fixed will by seeking the personal reward, enhancing the self stature, and maybe blindly following authors. And then the next one, the quality that has to be abandoned or being abandoned by the stream enter is a 5 kinds of the selfishness. We call it the Macharya. The first Macharya is the possessiveness in regard to one's dwelling. We call it Avasa Macharya. หรือในภาษาไทยเราเรียกว่าอาวาสมัชริยะมีความตระหนี่ในที่อยู่อาศัยอาวาส The second one is possessiveness in regard to one's family group, institution, and etc. Like the partisanship, we call it Sakul Macharya.มีการตระหนี่ในวงศกุลต้องการในวงศกุลหรือในสถาบันต้องการสงวนไว้ให้กับพรรคพวกตัวเอง This one อย่างนี้เราเรียกว่าสกุลมัชริยะ The next one is a possessiveness in regard to the one's wealth and the good fortune. We call it ลาภมัชริยะคือมีความตระหนี่ในลาภนั่นเองลาภ preventing other people from sharing the gains มีความตระหนี่ในลาภมีความพยายามจะปกป้องลาภไม่ให้ไปคือพูดง่ายๆว่าไม่มีการแบ่งปันนะครับเรียกว่าลาภมัชริยะคุณสมบัติอย่างนี้จะค่อยๆเจือจางเลือนลางหายไปจากบุคคลที่ได้ชื่อว่าเป็นโสดาบัน stream enterer and also the jealousy about one's reputation and social standing we call it vanna macharya the displeasure when someone else competes for the one's gain or beauty, intolerance when hearing the praise for others. อันนี้คือวันนะมัชริยะมีความตระหนี่ในชื่อเสียงนะครับไม่ยินดี ไม่ยินดีปรีดากับบุคคลที่ได้รับการยอมรับของสังคมเนี่ยมีจิตใจคับแคบนะครับอันนี้เรียกว่าวันนะมัชริยะ very jealous อิจฉานะครับความรู้สึกอิจฉา and then the next one which is called the possessiveness in regard to the truth. This is very important. We call it Dhamma Machariya. The possessiveness of knowledge and attainment of fear that author will gain the knowledge or attain the realization that match or excel one's own. อันนี้เรียกว่าธรรมะมัชริยะคือมีความตระหนี่ในความรู้ไม่ยอมแบ่งปันความรู้กลัวว่าคนอื่นจะมีความรู้เท่ากับเราความรู้สึกเช่นนี้เนี่ยธรรมะมัชริยะเนี่ยจะค่อยๆเจือจางเลือนลางไปจากบุคคลที่ได้ชื่อว่าโสดาบันThe next qualities, the set of the quality, the next set of the quality that being abandoned is called bias or อคติอคตินะครับในบุคคลผู้เป็นโสดาบันจะไม่มีอคติอคติก็มีอยู่4อย่างเรียกว่า four bias. The first is bias that caused by the desire. We call it ฉันทคติThe second, the bias that's caused by aversion, we call it dosakati. And the next one, the bias that's caused by delusion, we call it the mohakati. And the last one, the bias that's caused by fear, we call it payakati. คติทั้ง4เนี่ยจะเลือนลางเจือจางออกไปจากชีวิตของบุคคลอันเป็นโสดาบันคติ4นี่ในพุทธศาสนาก็ได้กล่าวถึงคติที่เกิดจากความรักนะครับเรียกว่าฉันทคตินะเรามีอคติกับอคติเหล่านี้จะเจือจางเลือนลางไปนะครับอคติกับบุคคลนั้นเป็นที่รักเนี่ยเราเพราะว่าเรารักเขาเราจึงมีจิตใจที่เอ็นเอียงไปอันนี้เป็นคุณธรรมที่สำคัญมากเหมือนกันนะครับในกรณีที่เป็นผู้ครองเรือนที่จะต้องทำมาหากินนะโดยเฉพาะอยู่ในตำแหน่งที่เป็นหัวหน้างานนะครับนะบุคคลที่ได้ชื่อว่าเป็นโสดาบันเป็นคฤหัสถ์ผู้ครองเรือนอยู่เนี่ยนะครับจะไม่มีอคติก็จะเป็นอยู่ในตำแหน่งหัวหน้าก็จะเป็นหัวหน้าที่ดีที่ไม่ได้ให้ความดีความชอบเพราะว่าความรักนะครับจะมีความเป็นกลางสูงอคติอันที่สองก็จะค่อยๆเจือจางเลือนลางไปคืออคติที่มีความโกรธเป็นเหตุเรียกว่าโทสะคติอันที่สามก็อคติที่มีความโง่เขลาเบาปัญญาเป็นเหตุเราเรียกว่าโมหคติอันสุดท้ายก็เป็นอคติที่เกิดจากความกลัวนะครับอคติทั้ง4นี้ก็จะค่อยๆทยอยเลือนลางเจือจางออกไปจากจิตของบุคคลที่ชื่อว่าเป็นโสดาบันThese are the quality that the state of the mind being in neutrality. So the defilements now we can talk of the defilements. They have abundant a coarse or acute greed. We call it raka, a hatred, dosa, and delusion, moha, which lead to an unhappy existence. The stream enterers do not commit any serious misdeed, which would lead to the perdition. They are secure from the rebirth in the state of woe. The rebirth in the state of woe in Pali we call อบายะหรือในภาษาไทยเราบุคคลนั้นเป็นโสดาบันที่ได้ละกิเลสหรือทำให้ความโลภความโกรธความหลงเนี่ยเบาบางลงเนี่ยก็จะหมดโอกาสนะครับที่จะตกไปในอบายนั่นเองคือพูดง่ายๆว่าในคัมภีร์เขียนว่าปิดประตูอบายนะครับ เพราะว่า defilement กิเลสนะครับได้รับการละไปแล้วนะครับส่วนหนึ่ง in the case of suffering they have a cruel mental suffering and the misfortune arising from the transgression of the 5 precepts. So the suffering remaining for the stream enterer is very very minor. ถ้าพูดถึงความทุกข์ของโสดาบันเนี่ยความทุกข์ที่เกิดจากกิเลสเนี่ยมันก็จะเบาบางลงเมื่อเปรียบเทียบกับบุคคลหรือปุถุชนธรรมดาทั่วไปนะครับโดยเฉพาะความทุกข์อันเกิดจากที่ไม่มีศีลนะครับโดยเฉพาะศีล 5เนี่ยความทุกข์ประเภทนั้นเนี่ยก็จะเล็กน้อยมากนะ very very minor เพราะว่าโสดาบันบุคคลเป็นบุคคลที่มีความสมบูรณ์ในศีล 5 The active qualities and the abundant qualities are two sides of the same coin, like the abandonment of the personality, the will occur with a profound understanding of the conditioned nature of the reality. With the arising of this understanding, a doubt will be vanished, and a solid confidence based on the wisdom remains. At the same time, the moral precepts are observed appropriately, leading to the conduct pleasing to awakened being. We call it Aliyakanta Sila. The attachment to the rule and the observance ends no more. When the person develops generosities, the selfishness went away. The wisdom weakened the force of the greed. The wisdom weakens the force of the hatred. and delusion, which is turn free a person from a bias and clinging. The reductions of the clinging leads to a release from the suffering and experience of a very great joy. The stream enterers are really endowed with the virtue and the happiness. There is adequate virtue to ensure that they will not cause the danger, distress, or harm to anyone. On the contrary, their behavior will benefit both themselves and others. So this virtue is secure because it stems from thorough knowledge, the clear knowledge which lead to a new way of seeing the world. For the happiness, the stream enterer have really encountered a profound inner happiness that is of the tremendous value. Although they still experience the sensual or the mundane pressure, they are not carried away by this coarser form of the happiness. They will not sacrifice the refined happiness to increase the mundane happiness. The mundane happiness is a balance by transcendent happiness. This transcendent happiness is both consequence of and a supporting factor for the virtue. It is a confirmation that a person will not regress and it supports the future, the spiritual growth. The stream entry is of a great value to the person who has realized and also to the society. The Buddha really assigned the stream entry to the first stage of enlightenment. It is the point where the life is an awakened being begins. The stream enterer, the Buddha called the true disciple. บุคคลที่ได้ชื่อว่าเป็นโสดาบันนี่แหละครับที่พระพุทธเจ้าทรงเรียกว่าสาวกที่แท้จริงนะสาวกที่แท้จริงของพระพุทธเจ้าเนี่ยเรียกว่าอริยสาวกเนี่ยนะครับก็เริ่มต้นจากโสดาบันนะครับเรียกว่า true disciple. They are part of the noble community หรือที่เราเรียกกันว่าอริยสังฆะอริยสงฆ์นั่นเองนะครับอริยสงฆ์เริ่มตรงนี้เริ่มจากการเป็นโสดาบัน the noble community เพราะฉะนั้นความเป็นสังฆะหรือเรียกว่าอริยสังฆะเนี่ยนะครับก็เกิดขึ้นนะ the noble community เกิดขึ้นจากมีบุคคลโสดาบันจำนวนหนึ่งนะแล้วก็เพิ่มจำนวนขึ้นเรื่อยๆจนได้ชื่อว่าเป็น community หรือเรียกว่าสังฆะหรือถ้าเป็น noble เป็นอริยะ เริ่มต้นจากโสดาบันก็เรียกว่าอริยสังขะอริยสงฆ์นะครับในภาษาไทยเรา which is the crucible in which the humanity is refined. The Buddha greatly emphasized the importance of the stream entry and urged his disciple to set it as a goal for their life. บุตดาให้ความสำคัญแล้วก็เน้นความสำคัญของกระแสนิพพานนะครับ stream enterer เนี่ยภาษาไทยก็แปลว่ากระแสนิพพานนั่นเองนะครับแล้วก็พยายามจะกระตุ้นนะครับบรรดาสาวกทั้งหลายให้รู้จักตั้งเป้าหมายของชีวิตเริ่มต้นจากการได้เข้ามาสู่ในกระแสนิพพานอันเป็นเริ่มต้นจากการเป็นโสดาบันนะครับ Buddha said that the realization of the stream entry is better than going to the heaven. Being an emperor or attaining a jhana นะครับบุตดาพระพุทธเจ้าทรงกล่าวครั้งหนึ่งว่าการได้เข้าถึงกระแสของนิพพานเนี่ยมันดีกว่าการที่อยู่หรือไปเกิดในสวรรค์หรือการได้เป็นพระจักรพรรดิหรือแม้กระทั่งดีกว่าการที่สำเร็จฌานนะครับ attaining ฌานะดีกว่าการได้ฌานนะครับนี่คือพระพุทธเจ้าทรงกล่าวไว้อย่างนั้น A teacher who is free from the sensual lust due to the power of the concentrative attainment and who leads to many disciples to merge with the Brahma in the heaven is considered excellent, but he surpassed by the stream enterer who still has the sensual lust. Better than ruling the whole world, better than going to the heaven, better than a lordship over the universe is reaching the stream of awakening นี่พระพุทธเจ้าทรงตรัสสิ่งที่เป็นผลของการได้เป็นโสดาบันว่าดีกว่าการที่จะเป็นผู้ปกครองโลกนี้คือเป็นพราหมณ์เป็นพรหมดีกว่าการที่จะไปเกิดในสวรรค์ดีกว่าการที่จะเป็นพระเจ้านั่นคือการที่ได้สามารถทำตนให้เข้าถึงกระแสนิพพานอันมีบุคคลโสดาบันเป็นจุดเริ่มต้นนะครับนี่เป็นพุทธพจน์ด้วยนะครับ So those people who feel that the nibbana is too distant to reach, too desolate or too ethereal, should use the state of the stream entry as the bridge for understanding, because the stream entry is very closer to their experience and easier to understand. And at the same time, the stream entry is directly linked to the nibbana, and this is an entry to the stream that leading to the nibbana, or it maybe we can consider as a first glimpse. We call in Pali is Pathama Tasana, or it's a first glimpse in Pathama ปฐมทัศนา This approach with a double benefit is appropriate for the contemporary people and still accord with the Buddha's principles. The stream entry should be the goal of all individual practitioners and of the Buddhist community as a whole. In the meantime, one can reach an intermediate state and as either faith devotee we call it ศรัทธานุสารีที่เรารู้จักกันในชื่อของศรัทธานุสารีนะครับ or maybe the truth devotee we call it ธรรมานุสารีนะครับผู้มีศรัทธาเป็นที่พึ่งผู้มีธรรมะเป็นที่พึ่ง This member are considered to have approached the stream entry, living in the path, and progress without failing back, and are sometimes included as a noble or the true disciple, or we call it Ariya Savaka. Those who hesitated or for some reason delay can living in the preparatory stage of the virtuous person we call it Kalyana which having a beautiful qualities and being learned as a noble disciple we call it Suttava Ariya Savaka หรือเรียกว่าสัตวะอริยสาวก This individual have studied the noble teaching Ariya Dhamma. They have respond to the core of the truth. They have escaped from a jungle of confusion and recognize the starting point of the path. Although they may still falter, they have the necessary factor to begin the journey. And the outset of this virtuous person, the faith, the moral conduct, generosity, and wisdom is not yet truly secure, can generate the quality of learning, which is called sutta, of having listened, of seeking a knowledge until they reach the state of the great learning. The stage of the great learning, we call it pahu satcha, of being very steadfast in the knowledge. Steadfast mean มั่นคงมีความมั่นคงในความรู้นะครับในการขนขวายหาความรู้อยู่เป็นประจำนะครับนี่คือลักษณะหนึ่งของโสดาบันบุคคล It is very precious, very precisely learning we call sutta that will helping in the development of the noble path, beginning with the recognition of where the path begins. In this, the correct understanding which is leading to the faith, moral conduct, generosity, and the wisdom, because the faith spring from such understanding, followed by the energy to cultivate other virtues. This quality of learning, faith, morality, generosity, and wisdom are called the five mundane accomplishments because it's sampada, or the five mundane treasures, because vati, with the attainment of the stream entry, these five accomplishments or the treasures become really transcendent qualities. The very notable feature of the stream enterer is that they are not having much of the material wealth. The stream enterer living at home with the mind that devoid of the stain of the stinginess, freely generous, delighting in giving and sharing. Whatever there is in their family that is suitable for giving or that they share unreservedly among those who are virtuous and of the good characters. Because of this unbound generosity, the stream enterer grow in the virtue. But many diminish in the material wealth, and the Buddha even established a training rule as a result of this trait. If the bhikkhu Sangha see that the member of the family having increasing faith but diminishing wealth, it can formally assign them the title of Sekkha, the learner, regardless of whether they are actually enlightened or not. It is usually not possible to determine the level of the realization in another. The behavior is used as a standard. If a monk who is not ill and has not been previously invited goes to the member of this family and eats their food, and he transgressed one of a training rules. So from this one can discern two important principles. The first one is the training rule focus on and declare a person inner spiritual quality for the benefit of the community. By dictating a standard of behavior suitable to the circumstance. And the second is to reveal how those people who are endowed with a certain quality, the faith is correctly aligned with the Buddhist teaching, or who have realized the Dhamma as a stream enterer. do not seek a reward from their good deeds. They do not chase after pleasurable sense object for the gratification. This question do not arise for them, like I have done a good, why don't good things come back to me? This question, this speech will not be appearing in the Sodabanta or the stream enterer, or even the speech like I have been generous, why I am not rich? I haven't got what I wanted. Because the Sodabanta or the stream enterer knows the reason why. They have not only the physical eyes, the stream enterer, which see only the material thing, but they have developed the eyes of Dhamma. We call it Dhamma Chaksu, or the wisdom eyes, which see clearly into the truth. The stream enterer have complete confidence in the power of goodness, a confidence that can never be shaken regardless of the unfavorable material circumstances. When they have clear seen the truth and walk the virtuous path, no one, including Deva, can tempt them to deviate. They are very steadfast in the virtue, mean very stable in the statue. In the virtue, I'm sorry, they were very stable in the virtue. The commentaries use the example of Anabintaka to show the degree of the stream enter rectitude. They cannot be enticed or immediately by Deva. On the contrary, Deva pay respect him. So these are the qualities and the defilement to be abandoned to the path of the stream enterer. So right now we can understand who or what quality that if you are developing the mind to become what is called the stream enterer or Sodaban บุคคลนี่คือคุณสมบัติแล้วก็กิเลสที่จะต้องละเพื่อเป็นบุคคลที่ได้รับชื่อว่าโสดาบันบุคคล So I wish the Dhamma today that I am offering to you will benefit, especially in the pure knowledge of the Dhamma or the teaching of the Buddha. And then I will come back to see you again next early morning, next Saturday early morning. Thank you for watching this program.